So now we are stepping into the engine room of modern consulting. This is where intuition meets evidence. Data and analytics exist for one reason only, to turn uncertainty into clarity. Okay? Analysis is not about being clever with numbers, it's about building confidence in decisions while grounding them in facts. Okay, think of analytics as a progression of questions, not a set of tools. Descriptive analytics asks what happened. This is your starting point, the factual baseline. And the diagnostic analytics then asks why it happened, pushing you to isolate drivers and root causes. Predictive analytics looks forward and asks what will likely happen next if current trends continue. And prescriptive analytics goes one step further and asks what should we do about it. Strong consulting work moves deliberately through these layers instead of jumping straight to recommendations. Okay, and now let's talk about how this actually shows up in practice. Market sizing is one of the most fundamental skills. You can approach it top-down by starting with industry-level data and narrowing it to the relevant segments, or bottom-up by building from unit economics such as customers times usage times price. Often, the best answers triangulate between both to check for reasonableness. And the goal is not precision. It is directionally correct insight that supports strategic decisions. And benchmarking is about context. A number by itself means nothing until you compare it to peers, best performance, or historical performance. Benchmarking helps identify gaps and highlights where improvement efforts will matter most. And regression analysis is used when you want to understand relationships between variables. It helps quantify how changes in one factor affect outcomes, separating signal from noise. Cohort analysis adds a time dimension, allowing you to see how different groups behave over their life cycle, which is critical for understanding retention, lifetime value, and the impact of changes over time. Here, sensitivity analysis is where judgment comes in. By flexing key assumptions, you test how fragile or robust your conclusions are. This helps identify which variables truly drive outcomes and where risk concentrates. And break-even analysis answers a very practical question. At what point do revenues equal costs? This is especially useful for pricing decisions, investments, and growth planning. And here, a small Python time. Let's crack this with financial modeling, specifically discounted cash flow valuation. And the logic here is straightforward. A business is worth the present value of the cash it will generate in the future. That's it. Everything else is mechanics. You project free cash flows over an explicit forecast period and discount them by using the cost of capital. Then you estimate a terminal value to capture cash flows beyond the forecast horizon. Okay, now the core relationships can be summarized as enterprise value equals the present value of forecast cash flow plus the present value of terminal value written as like that enterprise value. Okay, and terminal value is often calculated using the Gordon growth model, written as terminal value equals final free cash flow times 1 plus growth rate divided by discount rate minus growth rate. So here, these formulas matter because small changes in assumptions can materially change valuation, which is why sensitivity analysis is essential. Okay, so once you have done the analysis, the next challenge is communication. Here, charts are not decoration, they are arguments. Every chart should communicate a single message. The type of chart you choose depends on the question you are answering. Comparisons work best with bars or columns. Trends over time are best shown with lines. Composition can be shown through stacked visuals or tree maps used sparingly. And relationships between variables are best explored with scatter plots. Okay, and good design reduces cognitive load. Minimize unnecessary decoration, use consistent colors, label directly where possible, and guide the viewer's eye to the insight. A chart that forces explanation has already failed. And this brings us to the most important rule in analytics. Every analysis must pass the so what test. After every chart, every model, every table, you should ask, so what does this mean for the client? Data without insight is just noise. Okay. Insight without implication is incomplete. Strong consultants always connect findings to decisions, actions, and business impact. And alright, when analytics is done well, it doesn't overwhelm, it clarifies. It sharpens judgment, strengthens recommendations, and gives clients the confidence to act.